Welcome back to RT. Now let's turn to Syria and the ceasefire there, because there have been reports of clashes outside the capital Damascus involving militant groups which are not party to the deal. However, Russia's envoy to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, does say that the truce is largely holding. The ceasefire was brokered between Russia, Turkey and Iran, but the Russian envoy does expect the US to be involved in future peace talks.
Yes, we do expect that the Trump administration, after it comes into the White House on January 20, will be an important participant.
Well, the deal is widely seen as Syria's best hope for peace in years, and a rare chance too to find a solid solution to the country's long-running crisis. Russia's defence minister says 7 key opposition groups have vowed to join the truce, amounting to some 62,000 rebel fighters. Groups that do not abide by the ceasefire will be considered terrorists. Russia and Turkey have agreed to monitor and assist the process and act as the guarantors of the deal. But the current US administration, which had previously been considered a key player in any Syrian settlement, is not expected to participate. The leader of one opposition party in Syria, called the People's Will, said that this ceasefire is different from previous ones.
This issue is important amid those violations, which derailed previous peace deals and prevented their implementation in due time. I think that the new ceasefire is different from previous ones. It is monitored and controlled by real forces, who brokered it and will now play as guarantors. They can influence the situation in this battle. The Americans, in fact, derailed the previous agreements by failing to isolate the al-Nusra Front from the moderate opposition. This is what has prompted Russia to cooperate with Turkey on the matter, and have managed to succeed. I believe that the Russian air campaign in Syria and the liberation of Aleppo, in a way, has put an end to the unipolar global order. We should understand that there's been a real change in the balance of forces in the world, and it, of course, influences regional politics.
We have already started their New Year celebrations. Russian soldiers have given children their gifts and also organised a special festival to lift morale. Now, elsewhere, 2 explosions have hit a busy market area in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad, killing at least 27 people and wounding dozens more. That's according to local police. The first bomb was reportedly detonated by a suicide bomber during morning rush hour. The second, an explosive device planted at the scene as people moved to help the victims of the initial blast. This is believed to be the latest video from the market. However, it can't be verified. Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack. Well, to discuss this a bit further now, we are joined by Jamal Wakim. He's a professor of international relations from Beirut. Good morning to you, Jamal. Thanks for coming on to RT. Islamic State claiming responsibility again. No surprise with that.
Well, I believe that the Islamic State, as it's losing ground in western Iraq, and mainly as it's targeted in its main base in Mosul now, it will revert to another type of attacks, which is terrorist attacks directed against civilians, whether in Iraq, Syria, or elsewhere. So I believe that the situation is far from stable, in spite of the progress achieved against ISIS. And I believe that the struggle will go on for years to come.
What is the security situation like at the moment, Jamal, in Baghdad? Because perhaps you would assume that they'd try and beef it up, knowing that perhaps ISIL fighters are fleeing Mosul and might try and launch counterattacks elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I believe that they will target Baghdad, and mainly Baghdad, because it's accessible to them, and this is where they can target, for example, Shia civilians. So I believe that we will see more and more attacks in the future, mainly in Baghdad. Other areas in Iraq are less accessible, like Al-Basra, for example, far south, or Al-Najaf, which is the site of sacred or holy places for the Shia. But measures were taken based on past experiences. But Baghdad will remain the main spot where ISIS could target civilians, mainly Shia civilians, in the future, and where it could try to undermine the stability of the state, the central state. So I believe that we have to witness more and more violence in this country.
Jamal, you mentioned there you expect to see more and more violence, but I mean, curiously, this is at a time when ISIL is getting weaker and weaker. So why do you think the situation will just continue to be bad for a long time?
Well, because I don't believe that ISIS is an independent actor. I believe that it's a group that is used mainly by the West, and it has affiliations with the Turkish government, with the Saudi government, and it's playing to their benefit mainly. So maybe we see a shift in Turkey's policy in the past few weeks, but this doesn't spare Turkey from having supported ISIS for too long. And I believe that ISIS is a tool in a war by proxy waged by the West in order to redraw the geopolitical map of the Middle East as part of their grand strategy to contain Eurasia, mainly Russia, Iran, and China, from having access to the East Mediterranean.
OK, Jamal, look, we have to leave it there, but good to talk to you. Thanks for your opinion on this. That was Jamal Wakim, Professor of International Relations from Beirut. Thank you.